The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Federation stretched across 3 kilometers of polished crystalline floor, its vaulted ceiling lost in artificial clouds that drifted lazily overhead. Eleanor Martinez stood at the edge of the human delegation area, her boots clicking softly against the gleaming surface as she watched the proceedings, with barely concealed curiosity. This was humanity's first formal attendance at the Federation's Centennial Assessment, a gathering held once every 100 standard cycles to evaluate and rank every member species across dozens of categories: economic output, technological advancement, cultural contribution, and most controversially, combat effectiveness. They take this very seriously, Grayson Chen whispered beside her, adjusting his translator earpiece. As humanity's military attaché, he'd studied the Federation's ranking system for months. The combat rankings determine everything from trade agreements to territorial disputes. Higher-ranked species get preferential treatment. Eleanor nodded, her dark eyes scanning the assembled delegates. The Corinthians towered at 3 meters tall, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming like polished obsidian. The Velshara delegation rippled with corded muscle beneath their scaled hides. The insectoid Zixstar clicked their mandibles in what she'd learned was their version of anticipation. Now approaching, the announcement echoed through translation fields. The combat effectiveness rankings, a holographic display materialized above the assembly floor, stretching hundreds of meters into the air. Species names began appearing in descending order, accompanied by detailed statistics, reaction times, physical strength coefficients, tactical adaptability scores, weapon proficiency ratings. The Corinthians claimed the top position, as they had for the last 3 assessments. Their combination of natural armor, impressive strength, and 8 independently functioning limbs made them formidable opponents. The Velshara took second, their regenerative abilities and pack-hunting instincts giving them a decisive edge. The rankings continued downward through dozens of species, each celebrated or commiserated by their respective delegations. Eleanor watched with growing interest, her analytical mind cataloging the criteria. The rankings seemed to favor species with obvious physical advantages: size, strength, natural weaponry, enhanced senses. The more she observed, the more a question formed in her mind. Curious, she muttered. What is? Grayson asked. We're not on the list. Grayson frowned, scanning the holographic rankings. His frown deepened. We're not ranked at all. Maybe they'll add us separately. First-year members. Eleanor didn't answer. Instead, she stepped forward, her movement drawing the attention of nearby delegates. The Corinthian ambassador, a massive specimen named Thaxiran, turned his primary visual sensors toward her. Human Eleanor, his translator rendered in flat, mechanical tones. You have question. The assembly quieted. Thousands of eyes, sensors, and auditory organs focused on the small human female standing at the edge of the grate. Floor. Eleanor's voice carried clearly through the translation fields. Where do humans fit in these rankings? A ripple of what might have been amusement passed through the crowd. The Velshara delegation made their equivalent of laughter, a series of barking growls. Thaxiran's mandibles spread in what Eleanor had learned was their version of a patronizing smile. Humans are not ranked, a small one. You lack the necessary ... attributes. He gestured with one of his massive claws. Your species possesses no natural armor, no enhanced regeneration, no venomous capabilities. Your reaction times are mediocre, your strength negligible by galactic standards. You are soft, slow, and fragile. I see, Eleanor said quietly. So the rankings are based purely on natural physical advantages. Correct, confirmed Zixstar's delegation leader, her translator producing a buzzing quality. Combat effectiveness requires biological superiority. Weapons and technology are forbidden in pure combat assessment. Only the body one is born with matters. Grayson touched Eleanor's arm, a warning, but she gently pulled away. She walked further into the center of the hall, her footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. Just to clarify, she said, these rankings determine our species standing in territorial disputes, trade negotiations, defense treaties. They inform such matters. Yes, Thaxiran acknowledged. Eleanor nodded slowly. Then she smiled a predator's smile that had been perfected over hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution. I'd like to propose a demonstration. The assembly erupted in confused chittering, growling, and humming. The Federation Arbiter, an ancient being of pure energy housed in a containment field, pulsed with interest. Explain, human Eleanor. A simple test, she said. Place me in a controlled environment with any champion from the top 10 ranked species. Natural abilities only, as per your criteria. If I survive for 1 standard hour, humanity earns a ranking. If I win, well, we can discuss placement then. The hall exploded with noise. Thaxiran's mandibles clacked with what Eleanor now recognized as genuine laughter. You challenge the rankings. You a softskin who would break beneath a Corinthian's lightest touch. I challenge the criteria, Eleanor corrected. Your rankings measure the wrong things. Accepted, roared Thaxiron. I will face you myself. Small human, the Federation will witness why humans remain unranked. The combat sphere materialized within the hour a 50-meter diameter arena with variable terrain. Eleanor stood at one end, having changed into simple athletic clothing. Across from her, Thaxiron dominated the space, his massive form gleaming with natural weapons that had evolved over millions of years. Grayson's voice crackled through her neural cum. Eleanor, this is insane. He outweighs you by 400 kilos. Those claws can slice through steel. Trust me, she whispered. The Arbiter's voice resonated through the sphere. Begin. Thaxiron charged immediately, closing the distance with shocking speed for something so large. Eleanor didn't run. She watched, calculated, and at the last possible second, stepped aside. The Corinthian's momentum carried him past, his claws missing her by centimeters. She didn't counter it. She observed. Thaxiron wheeled around, mandibles clicking in irritation. He charged again, and again Eleanor evaded not by much, just enough. She was mapping his movements, learning his patterns, understanding the biomechanics of his 8 limbs and how they coordinated. Stand still, soft, Thaxiron bellowed. Eleanor smiled. No, what followed was a masterclass in what made humans unique. Eleanor didn't try to match Thaxiron's strength or armor. Instead, she used what evolution had actually given her species: endurance, adaptability, and pattern recognition. She ran, and kept running, not in panic, but with purpose. Thaxiron, built for powerful strikes and short engagements, began to slow. His breathing grew labored. Humans were persistence hunters, their bodies designed to outlast prey over hours or even days. When Thaxiron finally stopped heaving for breath, Eleanor struck, not with fists against his armor, but with environmental awareness. She'd been leading him in circles, toward terrain features she'd identified. A sharp rock formation became a weapon when she maneuvered him into stumbling against it. His own weight and momentum became liabilities. 30 minutes into the match, Thaxiron could barely move. Eleanor stood 5 meters away, breathing hard but still functional. Her body's superior cooling system and efficient oxygen usage keeping her operational while the Corinthian overheated in his thick exoskeleton. Yield, Eleanor said softly. Thaxiron's mandibles trembled. Impossible. You should be broken. I'm human, Eleanor replied. We break everything else instead. The Arbiter's voice filled the sphere. Combat concluded. Victor, human Eleanor Martinez. The Grand Assembly Hall buzzed with stunned silence as Eleanor and Grayson stood before the updated holographic display. The combat effectiveness rankings shimmered, recalculating based on new data. The criteria were flawed. Eleanor addressed the assembly. You measured obvious advantages while ignoring what actually wins conflicts: adaptability, endurance, tactical thinking, and the ability to weaponize everything, including the environment itself. Humans don't have natural armor because we invented it. We don't have claws because we built better weapons. We're not the strongest or the fastest, but we're the most persistent and the most creative. The rankings solidified. Humanity appeared in the top 5, but Eleanor wasn't finished. We also have one more trait you didn't measure. What trait? The Arbiter asked. We decide what rules we're playing by, Grayson said, stepping forward. Every species here accepted your combat criteria without question. Humans questioned it, challenged it, and changed it. Eleanor nodded. That's what makes us dangerous. Not our bodies, our minds. We look at any situation and ask, what if? Then we make it happen. Thaxiron, watching from his delegation area, slowly brought his claws together in the Corinthian gesture of respect. One by one, other delegates followed suit in their own cultural expressions of acknowledgement. The Federation had ranked every species by combat effectiveness, but they'd forgotten to account for the one species that refused to accept anyone else's definition of what combat meant. Humanity hadn't asked where they fit in the rankings. They'd asked where the rankings fit in their universe. And that, Eleanor thought with satisfaction, made all the difference.